Hello and welcome to the Sports Center YouTube channel. Me and Carl are today discussing Formula One. So obviously we've just come off the back of this weekend's race in Monza, which was it was a good race, but at the same time it was a boring race. I don't know what your thoughts were. Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it. As you know, I'm not an avid F1 fan. As much as the interest is coming back
Yeah.
now that Max isn't just dominating. But there is the story that we want to talk about. I get it, and I'm interested in this story.
Well, so we're gonna talk about McLaren today. I want to say they came out of nowhere, really, but they've kind of really slowly but surely been on the rise and catching Red Bull. Probably, I'd say maybe surpassing Ferrari now as the number two. Um,
Definitely, as an outsider, I would definitely say McLaren is the chasing pack.
yeah, they've got the pace. I think Red Bull are struggling for one thing or another. Ferrari are just hit and miss. You never know what you're going to get with Ferrari. One week they could be the fastest on the track, and the next it could be absolutely anywhere. So.
But they've been like that for the last few years, though.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Ferrari have that are fucking
they
right. Yo.
they come out with like a quality win, and you're like, didn't expect that. And then they'll be somewhere they'll be dominant in qualifying, and then nowhere in race. So they've been like that for years, good
Yeah,
few years.
they have. But so yeah, back to McLaren anyway. Um, did they miss a trick by not swapping Piastri and Lando Norris for second? Obviously, they were finished second and third, respectively. Lando coming in third. But did they miss a trick by not swapping them? I personally think yes.
It just doesn't make sense. Do they not think Lando can catch Max in this championship? Because if they do think he can, why the hell are they not prioritising his race position over Piastri? It just does not make any sense.
Especially when the win's not on the line. So
Yeah,
they knew they weren't going to win, and this is what I couldn't understand whilst I was watching it. And they were talking about it in comms as well, and saying, probably with maybe about 10 laps to go, they were saying, "Do you think team orders will come into play?" And yeah, with a win, excuse me, with a win not on the line, it just seemed absolutely bonkers. And look, don't get me wrong, there's only 3 points difference between second and third, but if it
every
comes,
point counts.
it does.
Can you imagine at the end if he loses, if he keeps gaining and gaining and gaining and loses out by 2 or 3 points, it'll be absolutely ludicrous.
It is, and there's only, I think, I'm just looking at the standings now. So there's only 62 points
But it,
between Max
but
and Lando.
it was up at something like 90 something, wasn't it? And he's been clawing back at him, clawing back at him.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And there's plenty of races to go. I think don't quote
Well,
me
we're
on this, but
halfway
I
through the
think
season
there's
now, eh?
yeah, I think there might be 9 races to go, maybe. So
So
there's a lot of points up for grabs, and the way Red Bull are performing at the moment, Max does not seem happy. And I think we
he's
said this on
not.
another pod, haven't we?
He's leaving, mate. He's leaving. Whether it's this end of this year or the year after, he is leaving. He's not seeing out that contract.
Nah, mate. I can't see him going anywhere. And it's funny as well because is it Red Bull and Ferrari have come out today and said that the wings on the Mercedes and the McLaren are not they're
Compliant.
basically not, yeah, they're not compliant to how the cars should be. So I'll be interested. I'll be surprised if anything comes of it. I think it's just purely racing
Mind games.
tactics. Yeah, because you hear it all the time on the radios. If a driver does something, you'll get the other driver that's on the receiving end of it coming on radio saying he just cut me up there or something like basically just planting seeds, looking for the stewards to potentially take some action. Put some
Yeah.
penalty points against them. I think this is a little bit of a. I think it's a bad move on the part of Red Bull because I think it shows a slight sign of weakness. Personally,
Yeah, I agree. But I think that it's rocky anyway, Red Bull. There's since this whole Christian Horner thing, it's and Adrian Newey leaving. there's it's been up in the air as Red Bull, and since then they have taken a downward trajectory in the results. Hence, Lando needs to be getting every point possible to try and claw this back because McLaren are on the up, Red Bull are on the down.
Well, it's interesting that I totally agree with you. I don't think all is rosy at Red Bull at the minute. I think there's a lot happening. We see now the manufacturers can take a massive downward spiral. I mean, look at Mercedes a couple of years ago. Lewis Hamilton were pretty much battling for poles, battling for wins every single week, running away with it, and then all of a sudden Mercedes just fell off edge of a cliff.
Yeah, ninth, 10th, 11th, rather than they're not
Yeah,
even.
yeah. I mean, they're far more competitive now than what there was a couple of years ago. But compared to where there was literally front of the pack week in, week out. So I do agree that I think there's some stuff happening at Red Bull on, I want to say, on and off the track. I want to say on and off the pitch and on and off the track.
Yeah, definitely, definitely is.
What do you reckon do you think Lando could do it?
I think he could do it. I don't think he will, if I'm
No.
honest. I don't see Max going the rest of this season without another win or another few wins. I think if he gets two or three more wins, that's him. I think that's him sealed it, if I'm honest. And I think it will happen. I don't want him to because I can't stand him, just as I think many other Brits can't stand him. But I just think the first half of this season, he ended. There was no one challenging him enough.
I think he will, me. I think he'll
I
do
think
it.
to hear
I think Red Bull's form is going to decrease. I don't
even
see,
worse.
yeah, yeah. I don't see Max challenging for poles week in, week out like he was at the beginning of the season.
No,
I
I
think
agree. I don't think he'll be challenging for poles, but he's a dirty, dirty driver. Is Max?
he is, but what I think he's going to become a little unstuck by, and I think a lot of people have maybe not seen how important it is to work as a team in Formula One. Because yes, very much you're in the cockpit, you're on your own, but when Red Bull and same with Mercedes, maybe 4 or 5 years ago,
Well,
when them
the,
cars
the
were performing, they were always working in tandem.
the one that always rings true to me with that working as a team is Schumacher and Massa.
Yeah.
Them two, it were always 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and Massa were always the one that was doing the dirty work for Schumacher to go on and win 7 titles.
Well, same with Max over the last few years. He's got a lot to thank Checo Perez for, and I think the fact that Max's form has decreased, I think probably because the car's performance has decreased. Perez is nowhere near the levels of Verstappen, of Piastri, of Norris, of Hamilton. He's nowhere near them guys at the moment. His form is long gone. I can't see him being at Mercedes next season. And I think the fact that McLaren have got two drivers at the moment that are week in, week out at the front,
Challenging.
yeah, challenging for poles, challenging for podiums. I think McLaren, and I think it was today actually. They came out, might be today or yesterday. They've actually come out and said that they might have to look at team orders to
They've got to.
try and get Lando the nod and get him that
They've
world
got.
championship.
They've absolutely got to. It's ridiculous that this isn't. You know, everybody talks about having a number one driver, number two driver,
Hmm.
and that number one driver, if he's challenging, well, either or, but predominantly, usually it's your number one driver that's challenging. They have got to take priority. That number two driver's got to be aiming to try and be the number one driver, and until that point, you're a support act for the number one driver. That's how I see it.
I think if there were so at the weekend in Monza just gone, I think if there was battling so this is McLaren for a 1-2, I think they would have switched them. I think the fact that there was only 3 points, whereas obviously you get 25 for a win, 18 for second. Yeah,
You think the 7 points would have been?
I do. I really, really do. Yeah, I think if it had been a 1-2 and not a 2-3, I think they'd have switched them. But it'd be interesting to see what they do in the next few weeks because they're right, they're right in it now. Honestly, right in it, and
Well, there's no race this weekend, is there? I don't think.
no, not
So
I think of.
I don't think there is. I think there's a week off.
Excuse me.
So it's going to be interesting to see what the outcome of this team meeting. Because I'm sure we'll hear something about it before the next race.
Yeah, we'll see. Be interesting if anything comes of this front wing issue as well that um, Red Bull have been complaining about. I can't see it personally. I think it's just a lot of smoke and mirrors, but we shall see. But yeah, I'd love Lando to do it. Obviously, very very biased out with the fact that he's a fellow Brit, but you know that's part of the game, isn't it?
Absolutely, support your own.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Let us know in the comments. Do you reckon Lando's got a chance, or do you think the lead that Verstappen currently has is just a little bit too wide for him to catch up? Let us know in the comments. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Catch you later.